The Justice League are the A-team of the DC universe. Whenever you think of superhero teams, the Justice League will always come to mind. The founding members are pretty much the poster boys of the DC Comics catalog and have single-handedly impacted the superhero genre for decades to come. So ain't it kinda weird how they seem to be kinda neglected in more recent times? More specifically, how there haven't been a lot of projects as of late that properly demonstrate the team dynamic and give light to other Justice League members that seem to be forgotten about entirely. Now sure, there have been great Justice League adaptations in the past, but it seems as if they aren't as pushed in the general public eye as they should be. They low-key need the MCU Avengers treatment. The thing about these characters is that within or outside their cinematic universes, they are the most recognizable characters in comics. Outside of Marvel comics, ain't nobody mess with Iron Man or Thor to the degree general audiences do nowadays. The Justice League doesn't or shouldn't need a cinematic universe in order for a plethora of media to adapt these characters properly, but here we are. The general public have a preconceived notion of how the Avengers interact with one another, which further increases intrigue whenever there's an Avengers or Marvel related project in the works, even if it isn't MCU related. The Avengers game was trash, but before we got a proper look at it, there was some hype surrounding it. If it was actually good, an Avengers game following the success of the Avengers brand, especially after Avengers Endgame, would have sold like hotcakes. We low-key might be living in the wrong timeline when the Suicide Squad have been getting more adaptations and love from WB than the goddamn Justice League. Even after the first Suicide Squad movie wasn't received too well, the squad still got another chance at a feature film directed by James Gunn. They're getting their own isekai anime and recently got their own video game where you kill the Justice League. The freaking Suicide Squad really got a modern AAA game before the league themselves.
See, now that's some bullshit.
And guys, don't worry, I'm not gonna trash on the game since I've already made plenty of videos on why it doesn't work for me. If you enjoy it, that's perfectly a-okay. I'm not gonna go on a mini rant or anything, the game's deserved enough crap as is. So anyway, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is one of the worst modern superhero games ever created, actual disgrace to the Arkham universe, disrespected pretty much every league member. I don't know what the hell the team at Rocksteady were thinking when making this game. I'm gonna need this game's events erased from the timeline entirely. And I'm not talking about the Arkhamverse timeline, I mean in real life. I'm gonna need one of y'all to go back in time and prevent this game from ever getting developed. The most popular depictions of the Justice League in video games either have them divided or mind controlled, except for the Lego Batman games. Lego Batman 2 is low-key peak. Certain members of the Suicide Squad like Harley Quinn have been pushed heavily with, let's say, the Birds of Prey movie or Harley Quinn getting her own spin-off animated show. Harley got her own animated series before the likes of Wonder Woman and The Flash. Peacemaker blew up like crazy with his spin-off show after the Suicide Squad film. He's even made his way into modern mainstream DC Comics, working under Amanda Waller, causing a ruckus for characters like Green Arrow or the Titans. Now, Peacemaker isn't an original character from the DCEU, but he might as well have been since most diehard fans never even heard of the character prior to the film's release. Bro's even a DLC character in Mortal Kombat 1. And his show's getting a second season that takes place in the new DCU. I feel like ever since the flop of the Justice League film in 2017, this same level of respect just hasn't been seen with the rest of the league. You know you done messed up when the ultimate team-up movie of your universe featuring the likes of freaking Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and The Flash all in the same film ends up being your first major financial flop, somehow making less than Man of Steel and Suicide Squad 2016 in the box office.
Flop.
To make matters even worse, the budget ballooned like crazy due to the massive reshoots when they brought over Joss Whedon to reshoot the whole film essentially. Them folk at Warner Brothers were so hellbent on making the next Avengers as quick as possible instead of making something that's true and faithful to the extensive lore of the Justice League. You don't need to do what the MCU is doing to replicate their success. The characters comprising the Justice League are popular enough, you don't even need to duplicate the quip style of humor to attain the attention of general audiences.
Well, I knew you didn't bring me back because you like me.
I don't. Not.
I take it back. I want to die.
Man, my toes hurt. I don't even understand the physics of how my toes hurt.
Yeah. Oh, something is definitely bleeding.
Do you talk to fish? The water does the talking.
Ass.
Hearing about the original plans for the DCEU Justice League and how that whole Darkseid arc was gonna get wrapped up sounded like the worst thing imaginable. Zack Snyder was not cooking at all with his depiction of the DC universe. Never let bro cook again. Bro had himself and his cultists out here believing fans are brainwashed for wanting their iconic heroes to actually be faithful to the source material and not act like the goddamn Punisher, saying how the no-kill rule isn't consistent with canon, which is ironic knowing he hasn't read a single DC book other than The Dark Knight Returns, which is even funnier taking into account how he somehow misunderstood that book as well. Batman has made it evidently clear in that story that he doesn't kill nor use guns.
But not with these. These are loud and clumsy. These are the weapons of cowards.
You niggas is just retarded.
He really said he would come back to DC if given the opportunity to do a direct adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns.
Get that fucking shit out of here, bum ass nigga.
I remember some of the OG plans had Batman and Lois Lane have a secret relationship following Superman's supposed death. Lois Lane's death leading to Superman working with Darkseid, which led to the apocalyptic future, having another alternate future where Batman sacrifices himself to defeat Darkseid, then having him and Lois' secret child raised by her and Superman, with him becoming the next Batman in the future.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
To add the cherry on top of this piece of crap of a cake, there was never another Justice League film ever again in this garbage of a universe, with Batman and Superman being absent for the most part, with them only making cameos near the end of the DCEU's life cycle with The Flash and Black Adam, with one being an empty promise and the other having the worst costume I've ever had to lay eyes on. This is how the world's finest were treated in an interconnected DC universe. Okay. At least with the MCU, they stayed true to who the main players were, with characters like Iron Man and Captain America making consistent appearances throughout the MCU. I think the biggest gap between Iron Man appearances was like 2 years max. Tony Stark was at least in every Marvel movie every year from 2016 all the way to Endgame. Meanwhile, before The Flash, Ben Affleck's Batman hadn't made an appearance in any canonical DCEU project, so not including the Snyder Cut, in like 6 years. Not even a headless cameo or silhouette. Now sure, it might be unfair to point that out since Ben Affleck left the role entirely before coming back in The Flash, but it just paints a clearer picture of how messy and disjointed everything was behind the scenes. But the Superman disrespect was even crazier, not giving my mans the respect he deserved for years at a time. Hey, I'm just glad Black Adam never became some massive financial success, because knowing Dwayne Johnson, the DCEU would have quickly became the Rock cinematic universe. Bro really wanted Teth Adam to stand alongside the big dogs. Brother, you're not him.
The thing that's crazy about it being so fucking big, your fan base is engaged, everybody's engaged. You make an announcement, and your announcement is talking about, hey, we're not going to continue the world of Black Adam, right? Yeah. For me, I'm curious. You then release the movie. Movie has success behind it. You get some positive dollars in the goddamn box office behind it in a time where the box office seemed to be taking hits, dips.
The Trinity throughout the universe felt less like a genuine group of friends that care for each other and more like co-workers. They were acquaintances at best. Justice League was so bad they pretty much gave up on the interconnectivity side of things. They prioritized solo projects that may have taken place in the same universe, but nothing was really done to tie all these projects together. Animation was once the powerhouse of immaculate DC adaptations, particularly with depictions surrounding the Justice League. The DCAU is pretty much the most beloved DC Universe adaptation of all time, giving proper due to not only the founding members, but also giving light to some of the more obscure members like The Question, Huntress, Vixen, and many others. It's pretty much the best interpretation of nearly every DC character imaginable, and the Justice League movies that were coming out around this time, I'm talking bangers like Justice League The New Frontier, being able to incorporate a unique style that's accurate to the comic itself, and implement a good balance of themes surrounding hope and optimism. Justice League Doom and Crisis on Two Earths are in the mix of being some of the best films in the entire catalog of DC animated movies. The Crime Syndicate, especially in Crisis on Two Earths, served as really interesting antagonists. Nearly every Syndicate member was on some demon timing.
You've got possibilities, little man. Sadly, I don't have time to play with you.
Freaky animators animated a whole lip bite and everything.
Nice moves. You remind me of my boyfriend. Your call.
Sorry, you're not my type.
That's going to cost you a rib. You think you can hide from me with a smoke bomb?
It's not smoke. It's anesthetic gas.
Get off my plane.
The Justice League films post-Flashpoint Paradox aren't bad, but they kind of pale in comparison to the films mentioned prior. Sure, you see glimpses of the League throughout the DCAMU and a couple of films focusing on the League themselves, like Justice League War and Throne of Atlantis, Justice League vs. Teen Titans, Death of Superman and the Reign of the Superman, and then Apocalypse War. Characters like Flash and Hal Jordan Green Lantern aren't given much to do after Justice League War. I feel like there isn't a lot of strong chemistry amongst the core members, with not a lot of bonding going on amongst the Trinity especially. A weird thing I noticed is how in the background there would be more added members of the Justice League, like John Stewart Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, or Hawkman, but you never see them get introduced. They just pop out of nowhere like they were there the whole time, or they were initiated off screen.
I recommend spending more time on the streets instead of flying over them.
He's even friendlier than they say.
Like, dog, where the hell did you come from? The added members don't do anything of value either. All they do is either get folded up in Death of Superman or Apocalypse War.
Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
Let me tell y'all something, alright? I like Cyborg and all, but I would much rather prefer him as a main member of the Teen Titans or a Titans type of team rather than a founding member of the Justice League. Most of the time when I see him in the League, he's just used as a good resource to teleport places, or the chemistry with him in the League just isn't as strong as in comparison to him with the Titans. His relationships with the Titans cast are a lot more authentic and heartfelt to me, at least. More recent Justice League films have either been ensemble films like Apocalypse War and Crisis on Infinite Earths. The Tomorrowverse somewhat skipped over the proper formation of the Justice League, which was always a bit odd to me since you would see the pieces set in stone for what I thought would be a proper Justice League team-up movie, showing glimpses of future members.
Maybe if we stick together, we can keep the peace.
What are you suggesting? Like a club?
Yeah, something like that.
It's for you, sir.
I'm thinking Justice League War was the chance for us to see these characters come together, but nah. You only see a few instances of Justice League team-ups in Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1, but it's kinda late for that since the Crisis trilogy is marking the end of that short-lived universe. To make matters even worse, Crisis on Infinite Earths includes appearances from other characters that have never shown up in the Tomorrowverse up until that point, who would have made really great additions to the world building of the universe as a whole. A criminally underrated modern depiction of the Justice League, however, is the show that aired on Cartoon Network some years back called Justice League Action. Think of it as Justice League Unlimited, but more comedic and lighthearted. Most of the voice cast is new, but Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman, so that's already at plus 10 points in the grade book. The comedy in the show isn't on some Teen Titans Go type beat. It's able to manifest seamless comedic moments without making the League members look like morons or disrespectfully make fun of them. It honestly has some of the best comedic moments I've seen in any DC show.
I thought maybe this time I could be the bad cop.
You'd better watch yourself with my partner here. Any little thing can set him off.
Let's put a little light on the subject.
Oh, sorry. Too bright?
You gotta be kidding.
Coffee? I thought you might like coffee. It's good.
Why are you showing me your teeth? What is that?
Donut?
Is it poison?
It's chocolate.
I'll talk. I'll tell you everything.
As soon as they realize you've kidnapped famous actor Mark Hamill, those will pay plenty of simoleons to get you back. You bet they will. Watch your tone, you witless wannabe. I didn't say anything, you paranoid prankster. Did you see my mouth move? You want to make something of it? Maybe I do.
Great Scott! I'm in Batman's suit.
Mixius Pitilix played musical chairs with our minds.
My heat vision. Shut it off.
I don't know how!
Think cold thoughts.
Batman's disapproving stare.
Batman is used to fighting multiple foes, but not with the volatile emotions of a teenage girl.
Why is everyone staring at me?
Hold it, that is not how Batman sounds.
Like this? I am Batman.
I am Batman.
I'm Batman.
Even lower.
I'm Batman.
It gives proper due to the other lesser known DC characters like Blue Beetle and his dynamic with the rest of the Justice League, Firestorm, Stargirl, Swamp Thing, Plastic Man, Green Arrow. It's a good time. But hey, at least Young Justice had a decent lineup of Justice League members. You got 2 Green Lanterns in there, that's already a plus. It was a pretty large and diverse lineup that was cool to see with what little screen time they were given as a whole, which is fine because the show was called Young Justice, not Justice League. It would be nice to see how the team expands going forward in season 3 and beyond. I wonder what new role Batman's gonna play.
But I hereby tender my resignation to the Justice League.
So do I.
There really needs to be a better emphasis on the more underrated Justice League members, as you don't really see them often depicted in media. Characters like Zatanna or Vixen are only given side roles in only a few animated projects here and there. There was bad potential to shed more light on the magical sides of the DC universe in the DCAMU with John Constantine in Justice League Dark and the Constantine City of Demons film. You see characters like Etrigan and Zatanna in Justice League Dark, but then you also have Batman in the mix. Like, who invited Man-Blood? I don't remember ever seeing characters like Dr. Fate or more screen time dedicated to the magical side of the universe outside of the Justice League Dark film and Apocalypse War. This problem most definitely isn't limited to animation. I know outside in other media, for instance, J.J. Abrams was supposed to be a major part in the development process of a Justice League Dark project in live action alongside a Zatanna project, I think, but knowing him in the DCEU, all of them projects would have been hot garbage. And in the context of the DCEU, killing off Dr. Fate and Black Adam got to be one of the stupidest creative decisions in the history of mankind. Martian Manhunter deserves more love than he currently does. My man has been a founding member of the Justice League both pre and post crisis DC Comics. I feel like I haven't seen Martian Manhunter be a main player in the Justice League since like JLU, where he took the role of the coordinator of the expanded Justice League roster, handing out missions to different heroes and keeping an eye on things in the Watchtower. The Justice League, the major pillar of the DC universe, have honestly just been sidelined in recent media adaptations, overshadowed by other characters and teams like the Suicide Squad. This shift not only reflects a missed opportunity to capitalize on the rich dynamics and deep lore of the league, but also highlights a troubling trend where the essence of the Justice League is diluted in an attempt to mimic the success of another superhero franchise. The potential for exploring lesser known characters and deeper, more intricate storylines exists, and it's time that the Justice League receive the attention and creative energy they truly deserve. Give them a modern AAA game, have them be a major aspect of the new DCU under James Gunn and Peter Safran. Yo, James, I better see a Justice League film in that slate. You know, first 10 projects, I don't see one. Y'all making a Teen Titans movie, but where's my Justice League movie, James? Where is it? Bring them back in comics since they're currently disbanded and the Titans being Earth's major line of defense. Just do something, please.
Am I not supposed to have what I want? What I need?